Alexa, play mariachi music. We're live.
Woo! Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, June 25th.
Alexa, stop.
26th. And we have a special edition encouraging people to mask up in North Carolina. And I'll let Mama Ruth introduce Christian, but I jumped in there because we didn't know.
Woohoo! I hate it, but I love it at the same time because I am saving my own life and I'm saving y'all's life by wearing this mask. I'm actually today at a beauty pedicure, manicure place. So good morning, everyone. Good morning. And we are glad to have this special edition because we need to bring that voice out by our actions. So let's all mask up and start the show.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christian Cano, one of your co-hosts for Coffee and Pondusi. I'm going to take this mask off just a little bit because no one is around me, but we wanted to start off the show wearing our face coverings. I'm Christian Cano. Today is June 26th. This is a special show on Friday, and we wanted to try to gather as many of our neighbors together and influencers to talk about the new guidance that goes into effect at 5 p.m. today here in North Carolina, and it is the mandatory face coverings. There's a lot of misconceptions about it. There's a lot of great things. So maybe we can cover some of those things. But we gathered a lot of our influencers here. We have an elected official, Charlotte's the city council person, Matt Newton. Mark Jarrell was supposed to be on this call, but then he had a last minute teaching thing. He actually at his job, as Matt has got his job as well. So we want to thank everyone for joining us. And we almost had Cynthia Wallace, who's running for Congress. But she has an event out in the rural area, and she needs to do everything she can to make sure that she beats the person in office right now. So we understand that. So with that said, I want to welcome you to our show. We want to try to go directly into it. Before we do that, we go around our virtual screen or the Brady Bunch screen in 30 seconds because we have a lot of people. Tell us who you are. Tell us your button, if you have one, an imaginary button, and then we will
Hey, Christian, can I jump in real quick? Instead of doing the button, since it's a special edition, can we go around and say how we feel about masks in 30 seconds or less?
That's why you're our co-host, so that's a better idea. All right,
yep.
So let's go. I'm looking at the screen, and it looks like it's Baby Trump Pinata. I want you to know that Baby Trump Pinata is watching the show, and he is wearing a face covering. So thank you, Baby Trump Pinata. He is going to take this advice to his dad. He's wearing a face covering. He's wearing a Medicare for All sign, a Moms Demand Action. He's passing out Cynthia Wallace for Congress palm cards. And once again, Baby Trump Pinata is telling Cynthia Wallace, you have until Labor Day to agree to Medicare for All, or else we may start supporting someone else. So there's Baby Trump Pinata. All right, let's go to the next person, which is Dr. B.
Mis padres.
Hi, good morning. I'm a retired neurosurgeon, and surgeons have been wearing masks in the operating room for over 100 years. It's not a political issue. It's because it prevents spread of infection. So please, everybody, now that you never know, might have the infection as you go around your daily activities, please wear a mask, as everyone says, for your protection and for my protection. It's a simple thing to do.
Jenny?
Hi, I'm Jenny-Jaymes Gunn, and I represent the LGBTQIA community, and I want to speak specifically to them. This is Pride Month, and we should show our pride by wearing our masks. It's a simple equation. We want to protect our own, and many of us are immune compromised. Many of us live with, different stress factors, and we don't even need to think twice about this. This is a no-brainer. It's more of a fashion statement than anything. It shows who you are and your character, or lack thereof, if you refuse to wear a mask. I am in complete and total favor of wearing masks and making it mandatory in public spaces.
Excellent. Thank you. Who is next? Rachel.
Oh, I'm Rachel Brummert, and I am a survivor of COVID, and wearing your mask protects people like me, like your children, like your families. This is, I have to say, this is the worst I've ever felt in my entire life, and I encourage everybody to stay safe.
Thank you, Rachel. I think it's Tera.
Hi, I'm Tera. I'm a disability advocate. I wear a mask to protect you. Please wear a mask to protect me. And it is totally cool to wear a mask. So I support everyone who wears a mask. And I do think it's an intelligence thing. It's not a political thing.
And then we have Councilperson Newton.
Morning, everyone. It's great to be here on this very special episode of Coffee and Dulce. I agree with the other comments about just how cool it is to wear a face mask. It is the hottest trend of 2020. You're going to want to make sure that you're always out and about in your face mask. And I want to say this too. I've been wearing my face mask for months, so I think I was a bit ahead of the curve. You know, so I don't consider myself a trendsetter, but in this instance, who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's the case. But seriously, though, we know the science supports the fact that next to social distancing, wearing a mask is one of the most important things you can do to prevent spread of COVID, to not just protect yourself, but to protect your others, protect your loved ones. So please wear a mask.
Thank you. Eddie.
Morning, my name is Eduardo Rivera, and I work currently for the census through the Center for Popular Democracy and Action at Sea. And just reminding everyone to wear your mask for your health and for my health is not that hard. Mi nombre es Eduardo Rivera y trabajo para el censo por medio de Action and Sea y el Centro Popular de Democracia. No es tan difícil, es para tu salud y para mi salud, usa tu mascarilla.
Rafael.
My name is Rafael Prieto. I am a journalist. Mi nombre es Rafael Prieto. Soy un periodista. And I am over 65 years old. So I am very concerned that the people don't use mask. Soy mayor de 65 años y me siento muy preocupado cuando la gente no usa las máscaras. Incluso me siento molesto, a veces encabritado con que no hagan eso, que es una costumbre que puede ser muy sencilla y que puede salvar vidas. I get really frustrated when the people doesn't use the mask. And it's something very simple that can save lives.
Mama Ruth.
Good morning, y'all. This is Ruth Perez, a community advocate. I agree with everyone in the show today about speaking about her wearing a mask. I have personally struggled almost losing my mother's life for not believing or protecting us in the past. So I encourage everyone, if you really love life and you have someone that you really care for, wear your mask. Buenos días, mi nombre es Ruth Pérez. Soy una abogacía en la comunidad, una líder comunitaria, y quiero incentivar a toda la comunidad que usen sus máscaras. Yo soy una historia real de que casi pierdo la vida de mi madre en un hospital porque no creía en utilizar las máscaras. Hoy les pido a todos que si salen de su casa, si ustedes tienen a alguien que quieren, que aman, por favor usen las máscaras. No es nada difícil y es con estilo. Bye.
Dr. Gina.
She's muted.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Dr. Gina.
Sorry about that. So I'm Gina, and I'm a semi-retired neuropsychologist. Right now I've been kind of a full activist for various causes. And one of the things I've been doing now has been making sure that people are wearing masks. I've been trying to push for city council to make it compulsory for the police to wear a mask, because as you notice, many of the CMPD officers are not wearing masks. I've been attending the Black Lives Matter events and handing out masks. So I've been getting them from people. We've been making them. I have a friend that we just made yesterday, like 80 masks. We're going this weekend on Saturday to a Cynthia Wallace event to distribute 5,000 masks. And so I think it's important that everybody knows, this is not a political statement, despite the fact that many people are trying to make it a political statement. This is kind of a, how much do you care for your fellow residents, for your fellow humans? This mask is not to necessarily protect you, it's to protect others. So please wear a mask. Y quiero que por favor todos traten de usar una máscara. Si no tienen máscara, traten de sacar una máscara. Y ahora vamos a empezarlo a hacer en el estado de Carolina del Norte. Lo vamos a hacer ahora. El gobernador dijo que va a ser mandatorio. Thank you. Gracias.
Maya?
I'm sorry.
She's mute.
Sorry. If you care about your community, if you care about the reality of COVID-19, please wear a mask. You're showing how much you care and respect for those who need it the most.
And last but not least, business owner, Cyndi Lopez.
Hi guys, good morning. I work for a secure facility for juveniles. And I just want to say that, it's really important to wear a mask so that you don't get your family, your friends, your neighbors sick. A lot of times we'll be asymptomatic and not even be aware of it. Also, I know that we wear sunscreen to protect ourselves against skin cancer. We wear seat belts, to protect our lives during a ride to the store down the corner. I mean, how hard is it to do this when we know it's important and it can save our lives as well as others? Y'all.
Thank you so much, y'all. I would think that just those personal statements would be enough for our neighbors to wear face coverings during this global pandemic, but it's not. So we're gonna have to try a little harder by talking about some facts and talking about some opposition and so forth. So please feel free to jump in.
Hey, Christian, I was gonna jump in real quick and just set the stage on comparable numbers because I think it'll help people understand.
Please, okay.
And Taiwan, from the beginning of this, has been proactive. In fact, they've gone to the point where they've produced 17 million masks and given them away for free to other countries. But the most important fact, the population of Taiwan is 23 million people. It's about the same population of Texas. Taiwan has only had 438 cases total, 6 deaths since this began. Texas has had 132,000 cases. And they've had 2,296 deaths as of yesterday. So you are talking about, a differential of almost 400% difference. I mean, we've had 400 times more deaths just in Texas alone compared to the country of Taiwan. And Taiwan's population is way more dense because they're an island nation. So yeah, they're like twice the population of New York.
Sure.
And we can compare New York too, but they practice the 3 W's: social distancing. Sure. They use technology. They use cell phone technology to make sure they remind people twice a day to be social distant. Sure. They've used cutting edge technology, common sense rules, and most of all, they've encouraged people to wash their hands. So,
I think, yeah, no, that's, and thank you.
Medical professionals on here, on the importance of washing hands too. So masking up and washing your hands is very important. And, definitely we need to call on those people first.
Sure. I hear you there. And I guess the question is, and Dr. B or anyone else who wants to answer, why is it so hard for Americans to see that data from Taiwan or see data from anywhere. And it's what they say is it's a communist country or it's a socialist country. You know, there's always something that they find holes in that. They just don't believe it. They say, well, that's just not, we can't do that in Texas. You know, we believe in liberties and we believe in and so forth and yada, yada, yada. Why is it so hard for Americans or some Americans to see that data or see those facts or facts in general and relate them to us as we live here? Who'd like to take that challenging question? And thank you, Jenny.
I will.
Dr. Gina.
So it used to be, you know, this country used to be the leading country that other countries looked towards about how we did things, and other people followed. And somehow we have lost that edge. Somehow we become kind of the butt of the joke. And this administration just has really, because it's a circus in the White House. So we have made it everything. We politicize everything. I mean, even wearing a mask, you know, how difficult is that? It is not difficult. Unlike many of you, I don't find it cool. I don't find it comfortable. I don't find it a fashion trend, but I wear the freaking mask because I know it saves other people. And somehow we're not listening to the data. You know, we're pulling out of, climate agreements. We're pulling out of all kinds of things that are relating to science. So somehow this really talks a little bit more than just the mask. It talks about people that are not willing to listen to science, people that are now, you know, when we have people trying to threaten Dr. Fauci, you know, for telling people wear a mask, or, you know, we shouldn't be opening up too soon. And, you know, and Jenny, you talked about Taiwan, but we can talk about South Korea did the same thing. And we can talk about New Zealand. And New Zealand's approach, New Zealand eradicated COVID. They have no more cases as of 3 weeks.
And I don't want to jump in on you, but in all three of those cases, so Taiwan, South Korea, and New Zealand, they're all democracies.
Yes.
And incidentally, two of those three countries have female prime ministers or presidents. So that's interesting in itself, but we won't go into gender politics. But you know, but all three leaders were common sense leaders from the get-go. They made a decided effort to protect their people. And I wanted to ask Matt Newton, since he is a city council person, what the city council, what their viewpoints, especially with CMPD and their city workers, what they're doing, what is their policy, and what direction are they going now in light of these new orders? You're muted. You're muted, babe. There you go.
There's always one of us, right? There's always someone who tries to talk.
And it's always you.
Every Zoom meeting, and they're muted. It's so embarrassing.
You're the one that likes to talk.
Embarrassing. Why is it always me? Why is it always me? So, a really great question. I wanted to start by maybe addressing your question, Christian, about why we as Americans can't seem to wrap our heads around just wearing, a mask to protect one another. I've got a good friend, by the way, who lives in New Zealand. Him and I have been in constant contact throughout, the pandemic, and he's told me about just how strict they've been there. How, I mean, it was a complete lockdown. Our lockdown was, it was on paper, but you still had folks, trying to figure out ways that they could skirt the rules. There, they didn't mess around. They were issuing thousands of citations, had to arrest people if necessary, but now they've eradicated the virus, and look at where we are. And not to advocate, so I don't advocate for a police state in any stretch of the imagination, but I think that we failed to take this seriously from the very beginning, and they took it very seriously, and their policies dictated that, and so
now
they're in a position.
Matt, I'm gonna stop you real quick. you talked about because that's a dog whistle word, police state, but in the early days, I remember when most states started passing seatbelt laws, they were issuing citations left and right. And the same way with cell phone usage and driving, many states outlawed that. So it's not really a police state, but a public health and public safety deal. How different would this be?
Yeah, I guess what I mean is scope of punishment, right? And so there were folks, that were arrested for violating the countrywide order in New Zealand. If in the most extreme of circumstances that's necessary, then I think, that's what needs to be done, to your point, Jenny, to protect the public. But it's not as though that was happening en masse, right? It's not as though that was the first option, right? And so to the extent that the whistleblower type of term or that buzzword term of police state is used, that's not what we're talking about here.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the point I'm making.
Yeah, just to have ramifications, because I know, seatbelts, they're not going to arrest anybody for a seatbelt. And usually it's a secondary offense. So they pull them over for a speeding violation. They notice they don't wear a seatbelt, so they write them an additional ticket. It doesn't put points on the record.
Sure.
But you know what's the hard, guys?
But
my question to Matt Newton, maybe, and it shouldn't be a question. It's just I'm wondering, what are the consequences that we're taking upon that mandatory order? I mean, not everyone is clear about that, about wearing a mask. Why? Okay, I understand it's for safety for us and for others, but what if I don't wear it? What if I walk into the store and the store doesn't tell me anything? What's going to be my consequence if it's mandatory?
I think that there are a lot of challenges associated with enforcing a mask order. There are a lot of challenges associated with enforcing a stay-at-home order. It doesn't mean you don't do it, right? And I think that there is a tremendous amount of value in the message that is sent, and having the state, right, in this instance, and the local authorities as well, set the example and the tone. I think that anybody, say being stopped for a mask, for not wearing a mask, and I haven't dug into, admittedly, I haven't dug into the details of the latest executive order. It's my understanding that it is similar to the previous ones, which would mean that you would be subject to a citation being written. But I think we all know that there are going to be many people who are going to willingly choose not to abide by this executive order, just like there were many people that willingly chose not to abide by the stay at home. But at the same time, what we could look back at with that stay at home and acknowledge is that there were so many more due to the fact that the stay at home was instituted, much like today, due to the fact that a mask order is being instituted. There's so many more people that will now abide by it. And that makes a difference.
Hey, Matt, I'm going to interrupt you real quickly just to read the actual order in layman's terms, because I thought the way it was written was brilliant. And then I want to ask Dr. B a question. It says that face masks will officially become mandatory in North Carolina at 5 p.m. today, in accordance with Governor Cooper's latest executive order aimed at slowing the spread of the COVID-19. Masks will be required in public places like restaurants, supermarkets, stores. People will be allowed to remove their mask while sitting down to eat, of course, and there will be other exemptions from the order. They include children under 11, people with medical conditions, making it difficult to breathe, people are exercising, and anyone who is social distancing from others. This is what I thought was the brilliance of this order. The police department and the sheriffs are not responsible for enforcing this order. That's my understanding. It is on an honor system, and the businesses are responsible for enforcing this order. And in this, it says businesses that do not enforce Cooper's order could face a citation from law enforcement, but they can get out of that citation by proving that they asked that consumer, please wear a mask. And if the consumer says no, they'll trespassing. So it puts the burden on the onus is on the business, which I think is brilliant, because you have a lot of businesses who will say, well, I asked them. And so now they have, the burden is on them, just as it would be to check IDs. If they drink, that's the burden on them. and the burden's on the business. So if you walk into a place and you're not wearing a mask, the business has the responsibility to say, please wear a mask. And if you don't, they can call the police, and you would be, if you don't leave, it's trespassing. So I think that's really kind of a smart way of doing it. But Dr. B, the question I have, and if anyone wants to comment on that, being a physician for as long as you were, what is the reasons that people don't follow your instructions?
There are probably as many reasons as there are individual people. Yeah, we all know that people don't like to be told what to do, and people just kind of have their own mindset about things, and they're pretty resistant to change. But then I think, like one of the other people kind of said, this executive order that Governor Cooper put, I think is more than anything a symbolic thing, that the leadership of North Carolina is saying, look, put on a stupid mask. And obviously it's probably more trouble than it's worth to kind of have police going around giving citations for this, because that would just kind of clog up the courts and keep the police from doing what they're supposed to do. And this thing about it falls on the business people. It's not rigid. I mean, they don't have to call the police and report trespassers, but at least as you say, puts the onus on them. And I think some businesses up until now have kind of felt reluctant. That, oh, we don't want to be doing anything because people will get us in trouble. Kind of like the airlines. So the airlines were in a position where if they tried to enforce this during a flight, you'd have a fight break out. So that's why the airlines told their flight attendants not to try to enforce it. But as we've all read, they're now kind of saying, okay, don't wear a mask, but we're going to put you on the no-fly list. You're not going to fly with us again. So there are certain, kind of back end ways to semi-enforce this. But more than anything, I agree that it's kind of a public statement. North Carolina is on record as kind of having a statewide directive, mandate, order, whatever you want to call it, just kind of advice to, come on, wear the stupid mask. It's the least you can do. No.
Well, and importantly, I want to call on Rafael. Especially he admitted to his age as a senior citizen, and what are the fears from the senior community as far as what's going on?
I was going to take another. Of course, as a senior, the precautions are in yourself, thinking that anytime you can get the COVID any place. So every time I go out, I wear the gloves and the mask. But I'm going to comment something that concerns me a lot, and I believe is terrible. Hispanics are 17% of the population in Mecklenburg County. However, right now we are close to 40% of the cases. 40% cases are from the Hispanic community. It's horrible. It's horrible, and it's irresponsible. I have seen, and I have heard things. People call me and say, "Okay, I went to Home Depot because it happened." That was what the lady, and I encountered a family that everyone has COVID-19, and they were going out buying things in Home Depot without the mask, without any protections. I know a community leader that goes around giving food to the people that are affected to COVID-19. And the people go out of the apartments trying to hug the lady without the mask, without any protection. I have here from one of the people in the construction that the guys go after the job and have parties, a beer party, without any social distance. It's terrible. It's terrible. We have to tell the community to behave, and also for the authorities not to be that wishy-washy. We don't have to be very concerned of the feelings of the people. We need to put fines, and strong fines, and put the police department to work to protect the health of the people and not giving hard time to the demonstrators. Don't use the gases in the demonstrators. Instead of that, why don't enforce the law in order to save the lives of the people of this city?
But this goes, I think like Rafael was saying, I think this is bigger than, I think this has pointed out all the holes we have in our system. Because frankly, I have a friend, very good friend that lives in Dubai, they have to wear a mask. It was mandatory lockdown. To take your dog for a walk, you only had 15 minutes a day. You had to print out from your computer. You had to print out or download a thing saying that this is where you lived and that the government had given you permission to take your dog for a walk every day. And if they stopped you and you were outside of that 2-mile radius, or 1 mile radius, whatever it was, you were fined. In Italy, people were not complying. So I have friends in Italy, people were not complying. What did they do? They gave people $500 fines or 500 euros fined, which is a lot of money. And what did they do? People started complying. So this thing about, well, we can't do it. These are the same arguments that people brought up when it was about the seatbelt laws. Nobody's going to follow. It's going to be hard to enforce. What are you going to do? You're going to take away from resources that need to go somewhere else. But now everybody wears seatbelts. And so these are things that I think we have to do. But I do want to address one thing that Christian said is, why do patients not follow up? Because that was one of the things that I always was concerned about. And when I worked in hospitals, I always tackled, why are people not compliant? And one of the big things with patients not being compliant is that, one, they did not understand the directives. So one of the things that over the years we've learned is that as a doctor, by you asking the patient, can you please repeat back to me what you think the instructions are that I gave you, jump the compliance by a huge rate. So that's one thing. The other thing is they didn't buy into it. They didn't think that medication or that treatment was important. So it was up to us to make sure that we convince patients, this is why it's important. So it takes a lot more on the front end, but it really kind of makes patients compliant.
Also,
Gina?
Christian,
Yeah.
also, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say, it doesn't help either that you have, like Tarrant County, our mandate begins tonight at 6 o'clock. We have Colleyville, who's not far from us, saying they're not going to comply with that mandate. They're going to go under Governor Abbott's rules.
So just want to clarify, Cyndi lives in Texas. So
awesome.
Okay. Yes.
And I think that it needs to be across the board. We're not, like I said, Colleyville's not that far from us, and we're neighbors. And I don't think it's right that they're not allowed or they're not made to do that when we're going to follow the rules by doing what we've been mandated to do. It's just like, I believe it's, I can't remember his name, the guy with the long hair. I'm sorry. He said, he was talking about Texas. Just yesterday, I think they said we had like almost 520 new cases just on Thursday. I was just, and Texans, we're all like, oh, you can't tell me what to do. We just have that bad attitude.
Well, on that note, not to jump in there, but Governor Abbott just signed an executive order this morning. Texas will, as of noon today, will shut down all bars again. So all bars will be closed. And they're scaling restaurant capacity back to 50%.
See, the ones that complain about not wearing masks here, that don't want to do it, will be the same ones complaining when all of the business gets shut down again. When we shutter again, those people, they will be there complaining, oh, I can't go to work. I can't feed my family, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, hold on, Jenny. Let's bring Rachel, Maya, Tera into this, and even Mama Ruth and Eddie, because I know I want to ask Councilperson Newton a question before he leaves. He's got to leave early. Eddie, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it starts at the top. If it's not complying, and enforcing, then people are not gonna care and take this serious.
Exactly.
And so if he's not complying and if he's not doing that, then I just think that Governor Cooper needs to step it up and make this rules more stricter. And if doesn't want to do it, then our mayor and city council members should step it up and have Charlotte be an example.
Exactly.
Yeah, and make this rules, more strict, fine people, and if CMPD doesn't want to help out, then fine CMPD too as well. It's our business, your health.
I mean, how about getting CMPD just to wear masks? I mean, really, do you know that I have asked everyone in city council? Everybody has told me. Matt has been the one that has been getting back to me, but everybody has said to me, gee, I don't know. Why don't you ask them? Literally, I had a city council person said to me, gee, I don't know, Gina, you should ask them. And I'm like, really? If I was only on city council, so I could actually put some pressure on CMP.
As you should be.
It's a lack of empathy, though, I think, for everybody. And it's also the fact, you're taking lack of empathy from people who you can't tell me what to do, and it's against my rights to do anything. And then we have leadership that isn't really being clear about what some of the guidelines are. So you know what? It's
or no leadership.
Businesses kick people out if they're not wearing it. I think they have a stronger line. I think people in a position that make these decisions are trying to please everybody, and you can't.
Very quickly, Maya is on, and my understanding is the people who are catching this the most, I don't know how else to say it, are people under 30. Maya, you represent that age group. I used to last week.
Wow, you have an age well, my friend.
That's right. So Maya, what are y'all doing? What's going on with you kids?
That is a good question. I actually haven't kept track of how COVID has been affecting my age group. All I know is that we care, even if it's not affecting us. Everyone that I know are wearing masks. The only ones I know that don't wear masks are Republicans, for lack of better words. Yeah, Trump
that's
supporters,
true.
Yeah, not wearing masks, and I'm just like, I don't say anything because I don't want to start a fight. I'm just like, okay, and just continue on with what I have. But most of my generation, we're well aware of what we need to do. It's just there's still that tiny portion.
I know everyone's not as, I apologize for putting you on the spot, but I know like in Texas, Florida, South Carolina, the people under 30 are like at Clemson University, 18 youth football players tested positive. I know in Texas, there was a family that had a surprise birthday party, 18 family members, and now their meemaws or their grandparents are in serious condition in the hospital. So those are some very serious deals. Tera Long, you've been involved in the community for a long time, and you ran on a platform of healthcare for county commission. When this mandate goes into effect and people are scrambling, are there areas they can go to get free masks if they, for some reason, can't afford?
Sure. Actually, you have a leader on the show. Gina has been handing them out. We'll certainly refer people to Gina. I have my mask collection. I've worked really hard to try and find who has masks. And I'll go through them real quick and tell it. And the internet, okay? This is very breathable, but I don't feel like I have the most amount of protection with that. Okay, handmade from a friend, I can definitely connect you. Small fee, you can bring your fabric, or she has fabrics. I'm plus size, so I bought hair things to fit me, so they fit my fat face better. Walmart, $7.50. Okay, in a tub by the cash register. That was Pika has given out, and I believe Gina has been a recipient of this as well. Depika has given out over 1,000 of these masks that she has made. Very comfortable. Novant Health has given them out free. I saw that Eddie was wearing his. Very breathable. Again, handmade from a friend. Handmade from a friend. Notice the Democratic blue, vote blue. The Dollar Tree, 2 for $1.
Wow.
Okay. This is Costco. Costco, you have to have a membership. It's $5.50 for $20. I got these yesterday.
Wow.
But the membership, I believe, is $140. So if you don't have a membership, you have to put that. Additionally, Walmart had 25 disposable masks yesterday for 17 and some change. On my Facebook page, I am trying to connect people who are selling with people that need. So please add me on Facebook. I have a few slots left, or just go to my page and see how you can connect people. Certainly ask me if you need a free mask. No problem. We'll find somebody. There's lots of community leaders giving out free masks. Thank you for that opportunity.
Hey, Christian, real quick to speak on the youth issue. The CDC says the 18 to 29-year-old group has 17% of the cases. It is the second highest group behind people above 50 but below 64. So, which is the highest group nationwide. The second thing is in California, Texas, and in Florida, the hotbed states, that category is 44% of the new cases. So it's surging in the 18 to the about 35-year-old category. So any of our
millennials are more social.
Dr. Gina, you want to say something that I need to ask Councilperson Matt Newton something? Yes.
Can I just say real quick that since the mandate, I have called several of the grocery stores, and many of the stores, particularly the grocery stores like Harris Teeter, they will be giving out masks. Now, Costco has been giving them out at the entrance forever. And so that's been great. But so you can get free masks. A lot of people, I'm giving out free masks. I'm getting them from several groups. So a lot of people are doing it for free. So don't feel like you need to pay. But yes, Costco, I just bought like 100. You could only buy 2 boxes. I bought 100 yesterday. And what I do is I carry them with me so that and when you see someone, it's not about confronting. It's not about being like rude, like my husband sometimes says when somebody's not wearing a mask. It's about like just approaching them and say, ma'am, can I give you a mask?
Yes.
And I have them in my purse all the time. And I say, can I give you a mask? And if they say, oh yeah, that'd be great. And I say, if you're going to use it, let me also give you a cloth mask. And be aware also, please, that not all masks are the same. So make sure that it's actually tight on your face. And that,
and Dr. B has great. And Dr. B has educated us on a mask that I've been wearing that I want to get back to him. But Matt Newton, because I know you have to leave here, you've got another call. Why isn't, we always put you on the spot. Why isn't the mayor making public service announcements? This has been going on for a long time about people wearing masks. Why can't someone sit in her chair, get a video camera or a phone and say, Mayor, please everyone wear a mask. It's safe. We can open commerce. You can go to restaurants. The more masks we wear, the more we can open businesses. Why isn't she doing that?
I think no, you're not putting me on the spot at all, Christian. No, I think that might be a question better posed to the mayor. I will say that I was very enthusiastically pleased and happy that the governor issued the order that he issued. So we have that in place statewide. That includes the city of Charlotte. I think it goes without saying nobody should want to so no one should want to catch this. You don't want to catch this, even if younger folks who might feel invincible we have report after report after report of permanent side effects. So you may survive this, but there might be permanent complications for the rest of your life. And so there is, I think that message needs to be spread. Certainly it's about protecting your neighbors, your family, but at the same time, none of us are invincible from this, and you don't want to catch it. I think Rachel could actually speak to that. I feel like Rachel, we have this kind of romanticized notion of kind of individualism, this kind of rugged individualism within certain circles of our country, and it by nature that can be a selfish attitude, and we have poor leadership at the very top that is really underscoring that attitude of selfishness. And we need to understand, and I feel like, we've always done very well as Americans coming together in times of need, even under a Republican administration, right? You can look at 9/11 and say, Americans came together. We're so divided right now because we don't have someone unifying us as a country. And at the same time, there isn't that, I think, that universal understanding that we're all as a country in this together. The state of North Carolina, we went under lockdown, right? But then all the other states around us were opened up. And there's this meme I saw from it was a Jurassic World meme where Chris Pratt is fending off the raptors, and Chris Pratt's North Carolina, and all the other states around us were the raptors. Right. And the thing is that it's so difficult for anyone to do it on their own. Right. People can cross borders. And because of that, unless we do it together, we won't be successful. And so I think it's really something that's worth bearing note that this sense of individual ruggedness, this sense of selfishness that is emboldened and emblazoned by this administration, we need to get beyond that, and we need to start understanding that it's not just about us individually, it's about us collectively. So I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. You did, Councilperson Newton. I'm just concerned. And I know you do, but those of us who are out in the neighborhood and we're just dumbfounded about why our mayor, it doesn't take any effort. Why can't you just say, protect yourselves, people, wear masks, and make PSAs so we can share. We just made a PSA before the show that we're going to give to everybody so you can put on your face if you'd like to hopefully Rafael can share it with everyone on here is an influencer. And all of you, there are people that look towards you. I know when Dr. B spoke, I have family members today that said, Dr. B told us to be careful about the baseball game and this. And so I didn't send them to the baseball game. We all have influence. Now, there's also people who, like I say, are the you're not the boss of me people. And I'll admit, my grandfather, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pivot to Rachel, because we touched on the after effects of COVID, and I've seen her post repeatedly. So if she could touch on what after effects she's had.
We lost her.
Oh, we lost her.
Can I just say one thing? Can I say one thing particular to Matt? Matt, I understand that it's very easy to blame the White House, and trust me, I blame the White House for everything. Since he got elected, I put on weight, developed hypertension, and pre-diabetic. So yes, I will blame the White House for a lot of things. But I have to say that this has been at all levels, because we've always known that Trump has been incompetent. This is not new to us. So I think that as soon as this happened, I was telling people at Mecklenburg County saying, you need to make at least the restaurant employees, when everything was locked down, you need to make the people that are serving the public wear masks. You should make a video. They should have made a video of how new health codes should be during COVID. That wasn't done. City Council, You should have made sure that police officers, CMPD is going to the Black Lives Matter events. They're mingling with people. I have offered them masks and they've said, no, thank you. Mine is in the car. Well, the car doesn't work. That's not going to protect other people. So my thing is, and I'm sorry if I'm getting upset, but I think this has been at all levels. People have been asleep at many levels.
And
Gina,
if I may
Gina,
just
it's very
interject
good.
for a moment, I need to run everybody, and thanks for having me on. So I think everyone knows where I stand, right? And we're all on the same page here. I agree wholeheartedly that us as elected officials, we have an elevated platform, and with the elevated platform, we need to set the example. And other so other members, right, of city departments, including CMPD, have elevated platforms as well and can do a better job of setting the example. You know, that's why I'm here with my mask. I can promise everyone that I will continue to promote the message that we need to wear masks, and I will encourage my colleagues to do the same. And to also, and I think this might speak to some of your point too, we need to, in times in unprecedented times, we need to act with a sense of urgency. And I felt like there has been a lack of a sense of urgency at moments here over the past few months. And people hurt, right? I think with the pandemic, you know, people get sick. I think with the current, with our protest and the current environment pertaining to the police and community interactions, what we've seen, at least here locally, is we've seen questionable tactics employed, and we need to immediately address those things so it doesn't continue. And so I will continue to be a strong advocate for all of you, of course, but for that type of change, immediate change in times of absolute immediate need that we need to be a little more proactive about.
Thank you, Councilperson Newton. And Rafael, you want to say something real quickly because we're about to wind down here.
Just before Matt goes, I have a friend that had the problem that in front of her house, in a Hispanic neighborhood, they had a big party, more than 50 cars parked, and she called first 311. Nobody answered in 311. Then she called the police, and they never acted. After that, we find out that 311 didn't work at that time during the weekends or in the nights. And the police department wasn't willing to do anything.
And that's something I can follow up on for you too, Rafael. Let's talk maybe a little bit later on today about that. And I'll follow up and look into it because I definitely think so. I mean, a number of issues there, right? I mean, certainly issues pertaining to COVID and social distancing, also issues pertaining to just quiet use and enjoyment of someone's property, and there being a nuisance involved. So we can follow up on that.
Before we close out, I just want to let people know that the Mecklenburg County Commissioners voted the day before the governor issued his guidance. And my understanding is it was a 7-2 vote. And I thought, who would vote against masks? It's an all Democratic dais. Who would vote against masks? Does anyone know the two that voted against the mask? Or dare we say?
At least they voted.
I think you know.
Christian, they voted. They voted. We had a good conversation about it on the city council level, and I think we would have probably passed something ourselves. But once again, I think from my standpoint, so they voted. That's fantastic. I don't know who
voted against. Who voted
against?
Me?
No,
yeah.
At the county commission.
Oh, I don't
who
know.
Are the two
I don't know, but I'm just really happy and glad that the governor has instituted the order that he instituted. Because if we can't figure it out here, right? They got someone above us, someone on the statewide level, was able to do something.
Well, whoever those two who voted against it the night before.
Reverend Mac posted last night the ones that voted against the mask. So if y'all know Reverend Mac, go into her page and
Who
read her
was it?
vote.
Who was it?
I can't remember the lady's name. It was a lady, the one that voted.
It makes no, I don't understand how they could vote against it, because not only did they vote against history within 24 hours, but I don't understand what the logic is. And I think one of those persons is the same county commissioner that neighbors of ours saw at Walmart on Pineville Matthews, not wearing a mask, with a child, her grandchild, waving around, spewing germs all over the place. She was trying to return a bike helmet. That is completely irresponsible. And that same county commissioner drives around with the sign in her car saying, "I work for you." So if you see that county commissioner, honk twice at her and say, "Where's the mask?"
On that note, I gotta go, everyone. Thank you so much. It's great to see you this morning. Love you.
Bye, man.
Wear your mask.
Bye, man. I call you.
Times like these, wear your mask, please.
We do have to wrap up, and if we can go around the room or the Zoom room and ask where everybody's going to be in about 15 seconds or less, and we can start with Dr. B.
You're going to be sitting right here encouraging people not to wear the masks. It's got that little valve on the front. Because, they're bad. It's a totally different thing from COVID. Those are not good masks for COVID. So please just wear a plain old solid mask of some sort.
Thank you, Dr. B. Eddie?
Yeah, so I'm going to be here in Charlotte promoting the census and also promoting people to wear their masks.
Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate you. Rafael?
As Senator Rubio said, use the damn mask.
Dr. Gina?
Hey, I was trying to look at who the two people voted against, but I can't find it. I wanted to make sure. I think I know who it is. I don't want to say it unless I'm 100% sure. Yeah. But we should have known, and we should have called it out, frankly. I think that our voice is our biggest weapon. And I think that if you go to a grocery store and they're not enforcing this, walk out of the grocery store and tell the manager. If you go to a restaurant and you see that, tell them, I am not shopping here. I am putting this on social media. And until you start taking this seriously, I will not come back. And I just want to say something real quick. I know you said 15 seconds, but so Dan, basically, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but Dan Forrest just was posting something about Harris Teeter will not enforce Democrat Cooper's illegal mask mandate in North Carolina. So I call Harris Teeter today. So this is their words, okay? This is what our leaders are doing. So I call Harris Teeter and they couldn't tell me. They were like, no, we're gonna comply, but we really can't do anything because if somebody says, and this is the biggest problem with this mandate, is that all you have to do is say, medically, I can't use a mask. Or psychologically, I can't use a mask. And you don't have to show proof. So anyway, that's my 30 seconds, sorry.
You're all right. Cyndi?
Okay, well, I've been doing pretty good job of pissing people off on social media lately. Family and friends, or people I thought were friends. But today is my day off, and I'm going to sit here and constantly post all day the importance of wearing a mask. And hopefully they'll get the message, and everybody will. I mean, it's like a dream if everybody would just start doing it. But I also want to say one more thing: Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Maya?
Yeah, so I'll be going to a few social events and also be going to, there's a free testing for COVID-19 our county is doing, so I'll be going to that this weekend and going to Silence Retreat and reminding everyone to wear masks.
Let's see, Tera.
Okay, so I'm going to be at home. I'm making sure that my social network understands once you get the mask, you have to wash it and care for it. It's not just the
important.
also have to wash it and kill the COVID. And continuing to use all of my platforms to educate people and about why it's important. Like, I try not to be mean to them, but I try to explain to them why it's important. It's an education thing. Our government has failed us on the education of masks. And so it has fallen into the lap of community leaders. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Mama Ruth?
Woo! I love it, Tera. Thank you. Now I have a question. Can I spray Lysol on my mask maybe once a day while I'm on break or something?
I spray alcohol on mine.
Oh, that's a great idea. You know, because we go and moving out, and a lot of people
Yes.
don't know. We need to educate them about how often we need to take care of those masks. Just by being fabric doesn't mean that they cannot be washed maybe on a daily basis before you go to bed. Hand wash it, hang it, and then wear it again in the morning.
You can also put it in the. You can also put it in the oven at 175. COVID dies at 150. 175 for 20 minutes. I'm telling you, I do that because the more you wash it, the thinner it gets. So, so I wash it like every 3 days, but usually when I come home, I put it in the oven for 175 for 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on the oven, please. And
good info. Thank you. Good info.
Well, I'll be waiting, expecting, hopefully praying that my mother gets out this weekend. We don't know yet, but we're expecting that. I'll be out in the Outlook. As y'all see my posts, I take pictures on restaurants wherever I go. I take pictures on stores if they're complying with our way before this mandatory mask wearing. So making sure that we are doing our part as a community, and let's encourage others. And some of them don't even hear news, so they don't even know what's going on. Let's be that voice out there as well. Thank you all for joining us today. I am so glad that we have so many different cultures thinking one single thing for the best of our country. And that's wearing a mask, taking care of each other. And like Maya, no, not Maya, my Texans girl said, all black lives matter. And that's what we gotta stand for.
That's right.
Well, I'll wrap up and then I'll hand it over to Christian. Mask up, people, especially in Pride Month. All my queer folks, all my LGBTQIA people and our allies. Educate. Please educate all of your influences. You know, your dogs, your cats, your kids, everybody. You know, don't let a moment go by. Post. You know, and do it in a loving way, in an encouraging way.
You know, and one more thing, Jenny.
Yeah, go ahead.
And everyone, the Cooper's mandatory says kids under 11 don't need to wear a mask. Let me remind y'all, we just lost an 8-year-old in Raleigh with COVID. And I have a 19-year-old in Raleigh also in a ventilator. So let's not take that for granted, please.
Well, and if you know kids, they're petri dishes. So
they'll touch everything. And that's another important point. Make sure you encourage people to wash their hands, observe the 3 W's.
Absolutely.
Wash your hands.
Washing hands.
Let people get at least 6 feet from you in public spaces. If the place is crowded, use good old horse sense. Just walk right back out.
Exactly.
You know, it can wait. There's nothing emergency unless you have to go to the hospital. But I'm going to turn it over to Christian so he can wrap us up and bring us home.
Thank you, everyone. This is actually the mask that Dr. B is referring to that has the 2 vents that he wants me to stop wearing. So I will not wear this one around him, and I will wear my other mask. I want to thank everyone for joining us. This was a very important conversation. We're going to share the PSA that we all made, and you can share it with people, or you can do whatever you want to with it. I'll do some screenshots for anyone who wants to share this show as well. Rafael, I know you wanted to share that as well. But more importantly, everyone, please remember that wearing a face covering is not about us, it's about protecting others. And the sooner that we start practicing face coverings of 3 Ws, we can open up a lot quicker. or at least hope to open up a lot quicker. So this actually benefits those who are concerned about commerce, concerned about those things. This is the best way to do it. And so this actually is very beneficial. I am disappointed that Dan, the lieutenant governor, has decided to sue our governor over this issue. I think it speaks highly of his irresponsibility. So I hope that plays into people's minds when they vote in November of who they want in elected office. Instead of spending his effort to encourage people to wear masks, he's wasting taxpayer dollars to sue the governor to try to open us anyway. Long story. All right, so thank you everyone. If you're on Zoom, just stay on a little bit longer so we can thank you personally. And I do want to remind people that you don't have to go out to spend a lot of money for a mask. There's a lot of people posting things online saying you need to, you're gonna get arrested, you need to buy this mask, you know, so forth. Look around, there may be some people who pass out free masks.
I think the
chambers are passing out free masks. Dr. Gina has access to Tera, so you can get some free masks as well. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to
the
wear
average
face
on the
coverings.
mask
All
are
right,
between
with that
$5
said,
to $7.
everyone, we will wave and we will stop Facebook. So thank you for joining us. Goodbye.